CEOs from Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's sent a very blunt message to the president during a meeting in the Oval Office.
This is a warning. If you're gonna need anything made in China, I would buy it now, while you still can. Many companies have already decided it no longer makes any economic sense to import Chinese-made products into the United States because tariff rates are so high. As a result, there are certain things that will soon be no longer available to U.S. consumers. Now, when I posted video warnings about empty shelves in the months ahead, some people thought that I was exaggerating. But of course, the truth is that I was not exaggerating at all. On Tuesday, the CEOs of Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and Lowe's specifically warned President Trump that store shelves all over the country could soon be empty during a meeting at the White House.
So what's the message that got through to the president?
Well, it's very interesting. We've all noticed the president's change in tone over the last day or so. I'm told it's the result of a meeting in the Oval Office on Wednesday with those CEOs who are talking specifically about the warning for the supply chain disruption. And they said that the store shelves in some of the America's biggest stores could be empty in the coming weeks.
Those CEOs are not bluffing. Our biggest retailers normally import massive amounts of goods from China, and there's no easy short-term way to replace that production. According to Axios, the CEOs flat out told him the prices aren't going up. They're steady right now, but they will go up. They also told President Trump that shelves will be empty if current tariff levels persist. I'm so glad that President Trump is getting input from these CEOs. That is very important. Doug McMillon, the CEO of Walmart, who's developed a cordial relationship with Trump through meetings at Mar-a-Lago and several mutual friends, bluntly told Trump that the trade war with China had already started to disrupt the supply chain, officials said, and would only intensify by summer. What makes this meeting even more significant is that Walmart and Target are two of the biggest corporate donors to Trump's inauguration, with Target alone contributing $1 million. Despite their financial support and close access, their warnings were stark and urgent, highlighting that even well-connected business can no longer operate normally under these new economic pressures. We should never have become so dependent on imports from China. I have been ranting about this for years. Now we find ourselves in a situation where our economy literally cannot function properly without Chinese-made goods. According to Zero Hedge, scheduled import volumes at the Port of Los Angeles are beginning to plummet dramatically. And I mean dramatically. The Trump administration is likely monitoring sliding scheduled import volumes at the Port of Los Angeles, the largest container port in the Western Hemisphere, amid President Trump's overnight remarks hinting at a potential de-escalation in the trade war with China. The president's comments to ease trade tensions with Beijing come as scheduled import volumes at the LA port indicate possible inbound trade disruptions on the horizon. According to Port Optimizer, and that is a tracking system for vessel operators, scheduled import volumes for the LA port for the week ending May 3rd show a 38.53% week-over-week plunge. 38.53%. Now, year-over-year, the data shows a 9.79% decrease. For the week ending May the 10th, scheduled import volumes continue to slow, with a year-over-year change down around 35%. The National Retail Federation has echoed these concerns, warning that small and medium-sized businesses will bear the brunt of rising tariffs. Without the ability to absorb additional costs, many will have no choice but to raise prices or close their doors altogether. This hits not just major chains, but local stores, affecting everyday Americans. Those numbers might not mean anything to you now, but you will be quite upset when you go to a big box store and the item you're looking for is simply not there. The reality of the matter is that our supply chains have already been thrown into a state of chaos. One industry insider warned CNBC that the freight slowdown has already erased hundreds of thousands of truckloads right across the country. Ken Adamo, chief of analytics at DAT Freight and Analytics, says, "We're at a tipping point on the West Coast. Looking at how many truckloads are available versus trucks, we've seen a precipitous drop. Over 700,000 loans have evaporated nationally in the past week compared to 2 weeks prior. This is cataclysmic. In all my years, I have never seen anything even close to this." So what exactly is causing this supply chain implosion? Well, to understand that, we need to go back to the ports. The vessel drop coincides with a rise in cancelled sailings from ocean carriers on Pacific routes that include ports of Long Beach, Los Angeles, Oakland, and Seattle, according to an alert from Worldwide Logistics informing clients of blank sailings. The Gemini Alliance between Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd has a cancellation rate of 24.39%, followed by the Ocean Alliance, comprising CMA, CGM, Costco Shipping, Evergreen, and OOCL at 18%, and the Premier Alliance, comprising Ocean Network Express, Hyundai Merchant Marine, and Yang Ming Marine Transport at 15%. MSC and ZIM currently have a 10% rate of cancelled sailings. Ocean carriers are trying to balance the pullback in orders resulting from the tariffs and the escalation of tensions in the trade war. CNBC recently reported a total of 80 blank or cancelled sailings out of China as demand plummets and carriers suspend or adjust trans-Pacific services. Look, this dramatic shift in logistics has also led to ripple effects in consumer pricing. While prices haven't surged yet, analysts expect significant increases in everyday goods if the shipping disruptions continue. We are now at a point where both inflation and product unavailability are looming simultaneously, a rare and troubling combination for any economy. And the outlook for the weeks ahead is even more troubling. We are being told that ocean container bookings from China to the United States are down over 60%. You heard me correct. In the 3 weeks since the tariffs took effect, ocean container bookings from China to the United States are down over 60% industry-wide. This massive collapse in bookings has further solidified fears on Wall Street. Markets dipped sharply in response to earlier trade war escalations, only to rebound after President Trump signaled a more conciliatory tone. Still, the inconsistency in policy messaging is leaving businesses, investors, and consumers uncertain about what to expect next. That initial panic was followed by a short-lived rebound sparked by more optimistic signals from President Trump. After his meeting with the retail CEOs, Trump told the press that tariffs on Chinese imports will come down substantially and that we are going to have a fair deal with China. The suggestion that tariffs could be halved sent stocks soaring on Wall Street, with the tech-heavy Nasdaq stock index up as much as 4% at one point. Unfortunately, this is not going to happen right away. According to White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, it's still the position of the Trump administration that there will be no unilateral reduction in tariffs against China. The president has made it clear China needs to make a deal with the United States of America, and we are optimistic that will happen, Leavitt said. And when that continues, it will be up to the president what the tariff rate on China will be. What this means is that the tariffs will remain where they are until a deal with China is reached. And that could take weeks, that could take months, or get this, yep, that could take years. Or it may never happen at all. At least the Chinese are willing to talk. In fact, a top Chinese official just declared that Our doors are wide open for talks after President Donald Trump softened his tone on the unfolding trade war between the world's two largest economies. Well, that is a promising sign, but the Trump administration has no intention of going back to the way that things were before. According to U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the Trump administration is seeking a deal that will fundamentally rebalance trade between the United States and China. He said, "Recent data shows the Chinese economy tilting even further away from consumption toward manufacturing. China's economic system, with growth driven by manufacturing exports, will continue to create even more serious imbalances with its trading partners if the status quo is allowed to continue. China's current economic model," he continues, "is built on exporting its way out of its economic troubles. It's an unsustainable model that's not only harming China, but the entire world," Bessent said. China needs to change. The country knows it needs to change. Everyone knows it needs to change, and we want to help it change because we need rebalancing too. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, 18 different countries have submitted proposals to participate in trade talks with the United States. This reflects the broader global impact of U.S.-China tensions and the recognition that the reshaping of global trade alliances could be the defining economic shift of this decade. Negotiating such a deal with the Chinese will not be easy at all. And even if a deal is eventually reached, President Trump is warning that tariffs on Chinese goods won't be zero. The bottom line is that Chinese goods will never be more affordable than they are right now, and until a deal with China is reached, many Chinese goods may not be available at all. So, you might want to stock up while it's still possible to do so. What's it like in your location? Let us know in the comments below. Please subscribe to our channel, and thank you very much for watching.